Say and spell your first
Okay.
and last name for me, please.
Lena Scaff. Oh yeah, there's a whole stack of stuff underneath there. Lena Scaff, Lenascaff, as and Frank. I always say that because people think I'm saying S.
Okay. All right, and what is your position?
I'm the Executive Director of Early Learning Centers of Lubbock.
Okay. My first question for you is, can you describe what the early learning centers are and what they offer?
We have 5 child care centers here in Lubbock, and we provide child care for children birth through age 5 during the school year. On school holidays and during the summer, it's through age 12. And what we're doing is we're here to provide a high quality educational early childhood program to families who might not otherwise be able to afford it. We're a United Way agency, and so the funding that we get from the United Way, we use that to offset the cost for our parents so that parents have a more affordable child care solution.
Sorry.
It's a high traffic area.
But it was good.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit more about the kids that come here.
Okay. We have children from all walks of life. We have some families that pay our full fee because they're qualified to pay more than what we even charge. And then we have some families that are paying nothing. They're enrolled through child care services or Children's Protective Services because they've been in an abusive situation and they need a safe place to be during the day. So we have all walks of life here.
Are the early learning centers, let me see about this right, they're certified safe places, correct?
No, I think that's mostly like a business that can be that, and it's for if you're in a jam, you go to that. We're a licensed child care center. To have the children in our facilities, we have to have a license, and so there's criteria we have to meet that make us safe to be a licensed child care center. And then we go a step farther, and we're a Texas Rising Star. That's an accreditation program here in Texas that meets higher standards than what the state says you have to have.
What training do your employees have to go through?
Before an employee starts in a classroom, there's a difference between training for the educators and training for administrators. For the educators, before they start in a classroom, they have to go through at least an 8-hour new hire training, and it's where they get a tremendous overview of everything that they might do at the center, of how to interact with the child appropriately, how to guide their behavior, because kids don't know how they're supposed to behave. That's what we're doing. We're teaching them those things. How to just meet the needs, the basic needs of the children. We have some children who can take care of themselves and go to the bathroom. We have other children who can't. We're also teaching them positive interactions. I think I said that. Our lesson plans, we're teaching them how to implement those, because we're not just taking care of days here, we're taking care of kids, and we want to make sure that we're getting them off to the best possible start so that when they do go to kindergarten, they're kindergarten ready and they're on an even playing field and able to keep up with everybody in the classrooms. So our teachers do all of that training the first day. Then we extend that, and before they actually are left alone with children, they have to work with a seasoned person for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes if they're not quite catching on and we don't feel like they're strong enough to run the classroom, we'll have them go for 4 or 5 weeks. We want to be sure that those people know what they're doing, they know the policies and the procedures, and they're doing it right. Then they have to get a total of 16 more hours before their 90 days. So they get 8 hours the first day. They have to get 24 total by their 90th day of training hours. Then they have to get another 30 hours before their 1-year anniversary. Administrators have to go through all of that, and then each year they have to get 36 hours every year. And so we're fortunate at Early Learning Centers. We have a program director, and she does training for our staff, because so much of how we're training our people is based on our policies and procedures. So we do most of our training in-house. We do open up, Texas Tech just recently had a Saturday workshop for all caregivers. We paid for about 20 of our employees to go to that. There's a child abuse conference coming up on April 6th. We're paying for 20 of our employees to go to that. So we try and help them get training as much as we can. The better trained your staff are, the better they are in the classroom.
When you talk about positive interactions, does that also go into, say there's a special needs child, how
Yes.
to kind of not, I guess, like keep their cool or like remain positive because without getting frustrated?
Yes. Well, I mean, we can't control somebody's frustration, but we can give them tools to help work with that child. And we see a lot of different behaviors in children. It may be a special need, it may not be. It may just be how that child's behavior is. And so some things that we try and do is we have notebooks in the classroom, and we try and document a behavior when we see it happening, so that we can see, is there a pattern to it? Is it always with this child that this child gets this behavior? Or is it always in this situation? And then we can start trying to help the child learn to cope with it. If it's a special need, then we get information before the child even starts from not only the parent, but from the child's doctor. We want to know everything we can. If they're seeing any kind of therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, we want to get the information from them as well, so that we have the knowledge going into work with that child and the tools to be able to help that child be successful. We also have organizations like ECI and Care Options and other organizations like that actually come to our centers, and they have therapists that work with the kids at our centers. We really like it when they do that in our classrooms, because we can see what they're doing, and then if we think, you know, this child is showing some of that, we can kind of do some of those same things with them, and maybe we can help that child get back on track.
When there's a child that's probably not special needs, but just kind of being a little bit naughty, what disciplinary action do you guys take with children like that?
Well, I don't think it's fair to call it discipline, because as a parent, that was my job. I don't want somebody disciplining my child. As teachers in a childcare setting, our job is to teach the child another way to deal with the situation. We've got some preschoolers right now who are pretty aggressive, and they're hitting. And we're trying to see, okay, is it always the same person they're hitting? Is it the same situation? What is the situation? Is it in the same learning center? You know, Playhouse, dramatic play is the place to be in childcare. Everybody wants to dress up. Everybody wants to play. So there's usually a scuffle in there. And so our teachers have to be in those centers, and they have to be watching and listening. And before that child hits, we want to say, hey, how can we fix this problem without putting our hands on each other? But it requires us to be there and to know the pattern, which is why we keep the notes, so that everybody working in there can see what's going on.
There was a recent incident last year at a local daycare where there was a video of an employee abusing a child that went viral all over the country. First, what are your opinions on that? And also, did that incident kind of change the way that early learning centers kind of, handled children? Does that make sense?
Yeah. My opinion, of course, is that was very, very tragic. It was just heartbreaking. I mean, the little girl just looked like she wanted to go to sleep. And we talked about it, and everybody was in agreement. Well, why not just let the child go to sleep? That was what we couldn't get past. It looked, and I'm not familiar with that center, so I can only go by what I saw, but it looked like they were having lunch like in a cafeteria kind of area. At early learning centers, we eat our meals in our classroom. So if a child's getting sleepy, we'll just let them go ahead and get on their cot. There's no reason for them to stay up. And we do go through periods of that with our 1-year-olds because, they are used to napping whenever they want, and then they turn 1 and we have a scheduled nap time. And so what we've been known to do is maybe serve lunch about 15 minutes earlier in there so they can eat before they start falling asleep in their food. But once they start falling asleep, we just wash them up and put them on their cots. We're here to meet their needs. And it was from the administrative team up here all the way to the classrooms. That was the first thing they all said was, why not just let her go to sleep? Mm-hmm. So did that answer all? You had several questions in there. I'm not sure I got them all.
No, that was good.
Okay.
That was really, really good.
Okay.
Let's see. Training. Oh, when it comes to people that work with early learning centers, do you just have employees and administrators, or do you have volunteers as well?
Oh, no, we have volunteers as well. But our volunteers are never left alone with children. They do go through a background check with us, and we have, I think it's like 15 or 16 foster grandmas that work with us, and they also go through an additional set of background checks with the DADS program. And those women work with our kids for 4 hours to 8 hours a day. They are really, and the kids love them. They come in, Grandma! They go, bye, Grandma! It's everybody's grandma. And they're just extra person, an extra lap. We try and connect them with kids who may be in the CPS system, who need a little more attention, a little more love, or kids who have a behavior issue. Sometimes it's just that they need a little more attention, and so the grandma will try and position herself where she's close to them and she can talk with them, or put them in their lap so she can read to them. Just giving them that little extra one-on-one. It really does make a difference. Those kids get somebody special. Now, she doesn't exclude anybody, so if 6 other kids want to climb in her lap, she's like, all aboard, let's go, guys. But she does have a couple of kids that she really does try to focus in on and help through the day a little bit more.
You said that you help children that are in the CPS system, so probably children that have either been abused physically or sexually.
Or neglected. Things like that. Mm-hmm.
When you get students like that into the ALs, into your learning centers, what do you do to make them feel safe? Well,
we don't advertise to the teachers, oh, this child is CPS, this child is not. All kids come in as kids. And our teachers know, because they've been doing this for a while, and we've got one infant teacher who's been here for more than 30 years. They know all kids are scared their first day. They don't know what's going on. I would imagine it would be the equivalent of dropping me off in a foreign country where I don't speak the language, which would be pretty much everywhere but here, and saying, see you at 5 in that language. I'd be like, what am I supposed to do? The only people I know just left me here. And so we try and keep those kids a little bit closer to us. And the really important thing is that we have to tell them before we change activities, because that is when the panic sets in. Because the kids who have been enrolled there for a long time, they know the routine, and we start the cleanup song, they just start cleaning things up, and it's like this, they're moving all over, it looks like a beehive, and the new kids are like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? And it creates that anxiety. So we keep them closer to us, and we let them know, okay, in just a minute, we're all going to start cleaning up so we can go outside or go to lunch or whatever the activity is that's going next. And what we found is, if they start on a Monday, by Friday, they're getting it figured out. Then that darn weekend comes, and Monday they have the anxiety again. But then by Wednesday or Thursday, it's gone. And kids pick up these routines. We try and do the same thing at the same time every day so that they know. And they even start to understand, oh, the last 4 days when I was eating snack, my mom came. I bet she's going to come any minute, because I can't tell time. But because we do the same thing at the same time, they start to figure out those patterns themselves. Even the little guys start to figure that out. So it's really neat. We grossly underestimate how smart little kids are. They really do figure those things out really fast. Even infants. They know everybody's coming in and out and picking up kids, and a couple of them will be like, where's mine? They're not even saying it, but you can just see there. And then that parent walks in and they just light up because it's like, yes. So.
Okay. This question may be a little uncomfortable to ask.
Okay.
If there is some type of incident where a child is hurt or a parent feels like my child is not being taken care of, how do you handle that kind of situation?
We have a closed circuit video cameras here. By closed circuit, I mean they're not for parents to view or for the public to view. I can watch all the centers from my office. The program director can, the associate director can, and then each center director has the monitor in her office. We also, because we're fortunate enough to have the staff up here, we've taken on a lot of the duties that a for-profit director would have to do so that our directors can be in the classroom. All of our classrooms can be seen inside from the door or from windows, and we always try and have more than one person in a classroom. If there was something where there was a concern, we would go back and look on the videos. We would talk to the other people that work in the classroom and go through all of that. If it was to a point where the child needed medical treatment, of course we would seek medical treatment, but we would also contact licensing. And the parents are all given child care licensing's phone number and website when they enroll with us, so that if they feel that there's something unsafe that they can call too, and we will facilitate the investigation, because we're not here to do anything wrong, and if there is something wrong, we want it fixed just as much as the parents want it fixed.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No. Is there anything else you want me to talk about? I could talk all day.
That was great. No, thank you.
Okay.